All right, so today we're going to talk about narrative writing, and we're going to use my rough draft as a way to talk about narrative writing. So the first thing I want to tell you is you do not have to tell a larger than life story, right? I think a lot of people feel pressure to tell this extravagant, once in a lifetime story like Jumanji or the Goonies or something like that, but it's not true. The story I told you starts off like every single day starts off for me, coming down the stairs with my son. It's a story that just has to resonate with you, right? And you have the urge to tell for some reason. So don't feel the pressure to tell a larger than life story. The next thing is just tell the details that matter, right? We all have that friend who tells a ridiculously long story with way too many details, and you feel your entire life being wasted, right? They're like, you can't believe what happened to me. And then they tell you about breakfast and their drive to work, and you come to find out the thing that was unbelievable didn't happen until 8 p.m. then, right? So just tell the details that matter. The story of coming down the stairs with my son probably took a minute in real time. It probably took you longer to read than it did actually happen. And then getting out of the house and getting into my car is probably another 5 or 10 minutes, right? But it had a profound effect on me, and I only gave you the details to really kind of set that up. I didn't tell you everything that happened to me that morning. All right, and the last thing I want you to think about is theme in fiction versus nonfiction, right? So in fiction, we have a theme, or an argument or message that the writer wants you to know. The thing is, in fiction, the writer's going to leave some clues, but it's the reader's job to kind of put those clues together and figure out what those themes are. If it's in nonfiction and you have a prompt that you're trying to answer, you're going to have to be really clear, whether it's explicit or implicitly, why you're telling the story and how it supports your thesis. How does it help convey what you're trying to say overall, right? So that's a little bit different. Don't forget that connective tissue, or you're just telling a story and your reader's going to wonder why. So in my writing, I used a metaphor. I used this coming down the stairs with my son, and then I use stairs as a metaphor for life, right? And it's something I do often. I kind of try to take old cliches and try to breathe new life into them. And I hope that talking about it in the story, coming downstairs, made that a little bit more interesting. But I don't know if I would have done that this time had we not just read Dudley's piece on everyday leadership and see him do the same thing with the lollipop. And then he calls that he uses that story about the lollipop and creates the metaphor, the lollipop moment, right? And I thought it was really cool and really effective. And I wanted to try that in my writing. I'm going to ask you to do the same in yours. I want you to use an object or a piece of the story you're telling and create a metaphor with that, or an analogy, or a simile, right, for a moment or something you want your readers to come away with. That's something I'm going to ask you to try. And you don't have to keep it in your writing, but I want you to give it a shot. So just like every other writer, I'd like some feedback on my work. The first thing I want to know is, did my metaphor work? Like, did using the stairs as a metaphor in there actually support my argument and add depth, or was it just too cheesy and didn't really do what I wanted it to do? It's my first question. It's the one I care the most about. The second question I have is, did writing in the present tense work? A lot of times writers don't do that, but I thought if in this case, it would create more suspense, and it would be like you're right in there when you're coming down the stairs and leaving my house. So I try to do it to create some suspense, but also bring unity between me and you guys as my readers. And then my last question is, did I actually answer the prompt? And do you have enough from my story and the commentary to really get to that prompt? Because a lot of times we fall just a little short. It's all up here in our heads, but we don't put it down on paper. So those are the 3 questions I have. I feel pretty good about the third question and okay about the second one, but that first one's really bugging me. I really want to know what you guys think about the stair metaphor. All right, so at some point during the writing process, I'm gonna hopefully get some feedback from you guys, because I'd like to give you guys some feedback, and I'd like that to be a 2-way street.